basically, how I like to look at it is it's a record of of a event that has happened that is written on a ledger that can be transparent and viewed by everyone and verified by everything that's a part of it at all times, and is secured by the network. The more users that are on the network, the more secure the network will become, because it has more hashing power to create more algorithms that make it even stronger. Basically, like it's going to be harder to hack because you have to use more physical mining or more physical computer processing power than the power that is fighting you, or that is.
So it's not impossible to hack, it's just really hard.
But it used to be possible, but now we are just so far beyond like a physical. You gotta think about it. Like everything comes down to a physical amount of energy use, right? Physical, like the databases that create like our internet and stuff. Like that's all backed by hard drives sitting somewhere running in a network, running using electricity. Like that is a baseline for value. And so you can't escape it. That's going to cost something, and it's usually extremely expensive to run that stuff. So let's see where I was going with this. So basically, fast forward to you're using a network to increase the security, and every time you trade, buy or sell Bitcoin, that's like an event that happens. It's a transaction. So every time you move it somewhere, every time you do something with it, every time I'm sure there's many different use cases of that would create a computer to need to be able to mine more Bitcoin. Like that's what you're doing. You're creating a piece of the blockchain every time you do something with it. So
Right, like Decentraland, when they use Bitcoin for stuff there, does it add on to the blockchain, like strength and shit?
I don't know. It's a good question. I would imagine it's probably blockchain. Everything's blockchain technology, so I would imagine that it's only making the web more deeper, more diverse, more protected, because there's more users that can verify that an event had happened.
Someone wanted to hack it, they would have to go like through another party of like fucking something like NFT, the OpenSea.
Well, there's checks and balances too. I mean, I'm not I don't know everything. Like there's so much more for me to even learn that I'm really limited. My knowledge is actually pretty limited. What I'm explaining to you is really just the surface. Like we're on the tip of the iceberg, and we're only on number 1.5, 2, at the moment. Let me just finish. I gotta get through this. So, yeah, blockchain. Let's just say I kind of like to use the analogy. I don't know if it's really the right analogy, but it kind of helps me understand it. It's like, just dumb it down. Bitcoin's $1. There's 3 people that are using Bitcoin right now, and we are going to try to recreate like a scenario. So basically, person A sends to person B $1 worth of Bitcoin, and that then, and it's, if you have this electronic protocol, that is recording and creating this database on this blockchain type technology, then basically you're going to, the first block is going to say person A sent person B this much at this time from this wallet, just all the details basically. And then person B and C and A are all basically mining using their computers to crunch all these series of algorithms to then be rewarded in Bitcoin, to then be able to make more Bitcoin. And so like there's a value there. So basically person A and at the same time that the computers are mining this Bitcoin, they're mining it because that transaction happened. This is probably the best way to explain it, but basically they're mining additional. They're trying to verify that transaction happened by checking that this for sure happened, and then they give their stamp of approval, because it's just an algorithm. Like as long as it like A equals B and B equals C, then yes, it's yes or no. It's verified that matches. Yeah,
more
so
money.
now blockchain, right? So what blockchain technology is now you have that
Right.
first receipt, right? Now the second receipt is basically added on to the next receipt. So and then the third receipt, the next time someone does something on the network, third receipt is then added to the second receipt, and at the same time, the computers don't have to check receipt. All of them don't have to. A small amount, I believe, it works like that. Like a small amount have to actually go back further, but they don't have to check A, B. They can just check C and maybe a little bit of B, and know that yes, the majority say that this is verified because we already verified it every single time prior. So you're just throwing one more on the last one and knowing that the last one is verified. You don't have to use all that power to verify the rest of the network. Yeah, per transaction basically is the scenario we're using. So you're
I mean, it's safe, but that's kind of like.
So basically, what's happening is you're adding all these receipts onto the original receipt, and you're basically a timestamp of what happened. Very detailed timestamp is probably a good way to put it. So you're adding all these timestamps on top of timestamps, and everything's transparent. So you can pretty much go back in time and see what started, where it branched off, who went to what, how, why, how much. And you can always connect all the dots in the tree. It's like a tree, like Ancestry. If you go to Ancestry.com, you'll see the family tree or the whatever genetic tree, and you'll see that at the top there's the first transaction, and then it branches out, and then it branches from there. So it would be exponential growth because everything's multiplying on itself, compounding. And so this compounding the amount of users, which is compounding the amount of power that it takes to run the system, which is compounding the security of the system, and you're going to need at least 51% of that to combat it. So once you get past a certain threshold, I mean, think about it, like the world is only going to have so many computers in it, so many people using computers, and so many people knowledgeable to even be on the system. So that's going to limit you right there. So as long as we can get 51% past that mark, which I think we're probably well past that.
I think we already have. Like,
we're way past that, I believe.
You know how many people know about Bitcoin? It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But you know what I mean. Like, as long as you have more power, that's more than the 51%, the more than 50%, doing the current, being the majority holder of the current system, then you'll be fine. And luckily we've surpassed that because we could have lost Bitcoin so many times before.
One thing I don't understand is the value in terms of like what it's worth.
Okay, so let's get on to number 3. So now we did 1, which is mining. We did 2, which was the technology and how it kind of gets mined and put into the system, and how it's secure, and why it's so desirable just from the technology standpoint of security, and that has a value also. Now let's get to number 3, which is going to be like all the topics that are going to be covered are going to be what is Bitcoin, what is fiat dollar, and how do they compare, and why one is better than the other. And there's going to be some other key points too. And then that's going to be it. And this is like a really pivotal point in the whole conversation, because you have to use all that previous knowledge from how the system works to get to now to have your epiphany moment of understanding why it's being so readily adopted so quickly. Okay, so we have the blockchain technology. Moving on to number 3, which is the value. So there's 21 million Bitcoin. The protocol dictates that only 21 million Bitcoin will be mined over the course of 130 years. So 2140 is the last bit of Bitcoin that will be mined, and it'll be such a small amount. The last 10 years, you're going to be mining some tiny fraction for some huge amount of resources it's going to take, or power, to get that small. It's like it's an exponential curve. Basically, it's going to take more to get less, but it's going to have the same the more energy and power
you'd get from that.
It would be proportionate to time. So whatever whatever set part you are in the scale by 2140 is going to be the proportion amount. I'm sure you could just look it up. It's probably like that this halving, it's going to produce approximately this much if this many people are using. This halving is going to produce this much less. This halving produces this much less, and so on and so on. So it's going to be a variable. You wouldn't know exactly because you don't know how many people are going to, how quickly people are going to adopt it, or all the different circumstances. We could have world wars and stuff like that. We will, I'm sure, before then. So lots of variables, but till then, it's going up in value.
In Bitcoin.
So basically, 21 million is the set number, right? So it does have a finite number to go off of. So that's how you create value. If you only have one of something in the world, then it's going to be more valuable than a similar thing that has two of it, right? Because it's just that much rarer. It's just human nature. It's that much rarer to have, and hopefully it has utility. It has the utility to match it. Hopefully, the scarcity meets utility. So not only is it the only item, but like a diamond, like it's the only diamond in the world of whatever type, right? So it's worth a lot of money. But what's the utility? Can that diamond be used in a ring? Can it be used to do laser cutting or some other type of quantum laser technology? I don't know, whatever, cell splitting and stuff like that. Like, what's the utility? Does it have the same utility as value? So that's where we get to Bitcoin. It has utility because it's digital, it's secure, it's deflationary because of the set amount, and there's so much more to it. I'm not even giving it justice, but
it will never go through inflation.
So that's why it's 50,000 for one Bitcoin and $1 for one US dollar, right? So we left the dollar in the dust a long time ago. So the 21 million and the Fiat the US Fiat. What's that?
Would you say Dogecoin has utility?
Your mic's maxing out. Let me finish real quick, and then we can ask some questions. Is that okay? Okay. So, let's see. I know it's a long explanation, but it really takes us much in order to get to where we got to go.
The value of
value. So now the fiat dollar. So we used to be backed. I can't remember what years exactly. 70s approximately, something like that. By gold. For every dollar we had to say that, well, we can't just create nothing out of thin air, right? We have to, have a value, a store of value to back it off of. It doesn't make sense if you don't do that. But we got off of that, and now we just basically created it's probably pegged to many different values and debts and derivatives of paper money that is like traded. Like you can create money out of nothing. Like for instance, like think about a bank. Like when they lend you that $100,000 to buy a house, they really only need to hold, I think the laws, whatever statutes are in place, are like some minuscule amount of that. So like if you're a bank and you own $1 million in money or assets or whatever, then theoretically you can do like 80% more, like 80, yeah, it'd be like 80. So you could lend out, well no, actually it's like 5 times. You could lend out like $5 million. So right then and there, you just created $4 million of paper money. So you only have 1 million, but the law says that you can lend out additional money, which is the 4 additional million. Because you got to remember, people when they get a loan from you, they're giving you like a couple $1,000. They're not, what's the down payment between like 3 and 20% down on a house. So you're only going to get a small portion, but you then take on the potential to receive the additional 80% that you can lend out. So, yeah, it's just lots of branches here. I don't want to go too deep into this.
So when thinking about like,
so just think about paper money as being inflated, like created out of nothing, and like what happens when that paper money like doesn't come back into the system, doesn't get fulfilled. Like people foreclose on homes and they never pay that money that was accounted for. That money's accounted for in the system.
That
the
goes
banks.
Back to one question I had.
Yeah.
Like, so when you're talking about wanting to trade Bitcoin into actual money, who are you giving that Bitcoin to? You're giving it to what was it again? You called it.
Okay, so What was the question? You're when you do a trade, when
Say you
blockchain.
want to transfer no, say you
Blockchain.
want to transfer Bitcoin into a dollar, like an actual physical dollar.
Okay.
Who are
Oh,
you
backed by a
giving
stable
that
coin.
money to? Are you giving that back to the Federal Reserve? Or are
Yeah.
you
So
giving
that's a
that
good
back?
question. Basically, a private company is going to be a private company or public company. I guess it's a company. It's an entity that's doing the exchange for you. So think about like an app that you use. Like the app is a company that designed that software, and you use that. Like Facebook is a good example. Facebook designed this platform that you use to communicate, transfer. You basically trade conversations, right? That's their form of currency. So the form of Bitcoin would be um, data. You're transferring data, like a different type of data. Basically, it's all data, but you're transferring a secure type of data back and forth. And
Right.
I don't know. That probably doesn't quite answer your question, but um, let me finish because I'm starting to lose my train of thought. Let me finish the number 3, which is value. So we have U.S. dollar Bitcoin, 21 million Bitcoin. U.S. dollar is basically backed by not much. It's like probably some small percentage of assets, a bunch of different ones. So now you come to the conclusion that okay, so if the U.S. dollar isn't backed by any one-to-one value, then what does that mean? Whenever we print money, whatever small amount that we have backed it by is only going to diminish in value. So we and if we can print infinite amount, then the backed value doesn't even matter. You can just remove that from the equation. It doesn't matter whether we hold 1 ton or whatever tons we currently hold of gold. The point is, it doesn't matter because the ratio of dollars to the amount that's backed is expanding further and further away from
So
each
would
other.
you say we're like going towards a financial
So that's what
crash?
inflation is. Inflation is the printing of something that's not backed by something of equal value. Does that make sense? Like it's like
Right.
it's like if we were just to if we had a set value of gold that the dollar couldn't go past, then we can't print more. But if we can just take the gold and just say, well, we're just gonna say it's just whatever percentage of after we print, then it's gonna be that percentage of it. So it's infinite, really. So if you just draw it, if you try to like go black and white, it's we can make infinite of this. So it basically has infinite lesser value. And if Bitcoin only has 21 million, then that's the baseline. It's 21 million. So now you have,
So it's
and
not.
it's worldwide.
It will never diminish in value that way that money does.
Yes, that specific way because that's inflation, right? Bitcoin is here's
It will
also
exponentially grow.
yeah. So an exponential. I just looked it up the other day because I was a little fuzzy on it, and I'm probably still fuzzy on the explanation. But it's really hard for our brains. Like we humans don't understand what exponentiality is. Exponentiality is taking something and multiplying it, or does that only have to do with multiplying? Well, let's just use that as an example. I'm not the best at explaining this, but basically you start with you can start with negative numbers if you want, but you can start with 1 times 1 is 1 or 2. Well, you got to multiply it. So 1 times 1 plus 1 is 2, and then 2 plus 2 is 4. Addition, I guess. Mixing a few things up here, but it's expanding at a faster rate as time goes on. So 4 plus 4 is 8, 16, 32, 64, 128,
And like
and
a
so on.
Fibonacci sequence.
Yes, Fibonacci. Yeah, it's actually interesting that you know that. So that's perfect. So you're, that's the nutshell. Explain it in a nutshell. Exponentiality. So it's just growing.
But Bitcoin will
growing
only
more as it goes.
exponentially grow until it reaches this
Finite amount that can be
amount-
mined or something.
this
Yeah.
finite amount that can be mined. And what do you
Eh,
think?
And
Do you
well,
think that
you
people
got to
are gonna be
remember,
concerned that we're gonna be like
it's not going to matter.
getting
We're
to
not going to be
those
around.
specific
It won't matter for us. I
point?
mean, the I guess the takeaway
Or
from
would
this
that be
is that
like the end of like financial like worry? Like
you know,
we
honestly,
don't even have to worry about money anymore.
I-
That'd be
honestly,
crazy.
there's really no point in talking about it now because
Yeah.
we don't even know what's going to happen in 5 years, let alone 10 years of how this is going to evolve.
Yeah.
Because you remember, it's compounded knowledge. So you're taking technology that you have, like electricity, and you're basically in a short amount of time you're creating time travel. Like that's a good analogy. Like you're basically turning like the wheel into time travel. How do you get there? Well, you got to do this, and then you got to do this, and then those 2 things do this, and then those 4 things do this, and those 8 things do this, and then all these technologies are built, and they're all being used together to create the next technology. So it's only going to be better. So we have arrived at the digital finance technology
Do you think
age.
these companies, these big tech companies that are already out for just money,
Mhm.
like Facebook, do you think that they are looking to cryptocurrency to use it for personal gain,
What's up, Fire?
like
Welcome.
as if Facebook's doing? You know what I'm
You're
saying?
saying like the majority holders of Bitcoin that would be like the old OGs that like have large amounts
Right.
from the early days. Yeah, they're going to be the world powers of the future. But you got to remember too, it's going to be a like a paradigm shift. It's going to be a shift in the old money to the new money. So
But it's
it's
still
going to
gonna
bring the
be
ideas.
it's still gonna be like a percentage of people who have a lot of money are
Yeah,
just kind of transferring their money to Bitcoin. It's not
yeah.
necessarily the biggest change, but it's financial like security to the maximum. Like we're not gonna be afraid of.
I think what's going to happen is it's going to be like
But that's gonna change our country like
it's going to
crazy.
change the
Like
world.
Whole
Well,
name is
it's
Bitcoin.
yeah. What's up, Stan?
Yeah.
Welcome.
yeah,
I
it'll
don't know,
change.
man. I want to get into Bitcoin, but I'm not old enough to have a credit card where I can put it
You
in
don't need
yet.
to. You don't need to. You just need a bank account. How old are you?
16.
Yeah, you can go to any federal credit union, any local credit union, and you can have a
I
parent
want to get into
signature,
it.
and you
This
can
nigga
sign
a
up
You're a
with a bank
scammer. Let me
account.
be the first one to tell you that. He's scamming, bro. Listen to shit he's saying.
Yeah, actually,
That's all
that's
scam, that's all.
that's a good question. Why don't you ask everybody that's been listening to me past 2 hours?
Hey, everybody that's been listening, I don't
You
give a
get their
fuck.
opinion.
Stop
You get their
listening.
opinion.
Scam
Hey,
like this is
you
Stop
listen
listening.
for a good 30 minutes, you might get rich.
Giving y'all niggas a warning, bro.
So who's the
He
skeptical one here?
scammed you, bro.
This
Bitcoin
scam
scammed you.
likely guy thinks he's
Oh,
funny, so
why do you have the
listen
word
to him.
scam
I don't
in
think I'm
your
funny, nigga. I'm
name?
not trying
Yeah,
to be
you
funny.
do,
I'm
bro.
being
Don't act
dead
like you
ass.
don't, man. You think you're the
His
shit.
name
You
is
come
Skim.
over and talk shit, bro, with your
Yeah.
little fucking...
This is just a
Yeah,
platform
yeah.
for knowledge. There's nothing negative here, so I'm
Teach
gonna
me about butt sex. How that go? How that work?
yeah. It's he's not capable of learning something new right now. He's just not in the mindset for it.
He's a funny ass guy, though.
Not really.
I know him.
Oh. Yeah. Any other questions? Like the people that have just joined. Are
Also,
you? Yeah.
going back to like what we were talking about in the third step of value.
Mhm.
When I'm talking about stocks right now, Bitcoin is worth $48,000.
Oh, wait, I have
What
a
is
question.
that transferred to of how much it's worth? Like how much Bitcoin's out there right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So basically, your question is what's the rate? What's the proportion of like how much you own in Bitcoin compared to what's out there right now?
No, like the stock of Bitcoin. So it's
Why
value.
is it
Like
why is it worth like 50,000 right now? And why is the U.S.
it's worth
dollar only used one?
50,000, right? No,
Oh,
it's
Yeah.
like
kind of low, actually. Isn't that
So-
like a low?
Yeah, we went up to 40 in this run. We went down to 30, went up to 62, went down to 48 or something like that. Then we went up to 69, and now we're at 50,
Wait,
48,
I have
48,000.
a question. Where is like this money that like Bitcoin actually gets? Like for like, where is that coming from? Like, why do you get? Is it like?
Uh-huh.
Is it kind of like one of those like? What is it? You know, like there's those monkey things where you can buy a monkey and then it's fuck. What is it called? I gotta find this shit up. The crypto something. But, like, where's the money from like crypto actually coming from? Like, are people getting paid to?
Yeah, so I'll explain it. I explained it to the other people that were in here, but your computer, you're using processing power to solve complex equations on a network, on a protocol, and then in return, by solving those equations by a certain rate, you get rewarded in Bitcoin. So it's taking physical hardware, which costs a lot of money, to generate this Bitcoin that's being received by you. You're receiving
Yeah,
this Bitcoin from this.
But where's this like? Where's that money? Like, is like somebody paying
It's just a
to
it's
get
just a
these problems
protocol.
solved?
It just takes a lot of money to make it. So you're gonna have a
So say-
baseline of value.
So say I have like $20 and I want to transfer that every week towards Bitcoin and just
Yeah.
like transfer that into Bitcoin.
Mhm.
And build a Bitcoin. When the value of Bitcoin goes up, my Bitcoin that I own would grow, right?
Yeah, so you're gonna be by doing that. That's called dollar cost averaging into a market, or you can also dollar cost average out. So basically, you're spreading out your buys over a course of time. So Bitcoin could be at 60,000, you buy $10. Could be at 40,000 the next week, you buy $10. Takes an average of the two. It's a very safe bet. Now you bought at 50,000, you didn't have to worry about buying the top or the bottom. Then you just keep doing that, and it'll give you a more accurate average as time goes on, as long as you keep it consistent. Or you can just wait to
What
buy
kind
the
of
dips
problems are being solved?
by blockchain technology, by Bitcoin. So
That's a good question.
yeah, so you got to think about it like we are in the 1890s and electricity just came out, right? So not everybody knows about electricity. People think it's bad. They're scared of it because they don't know the true potential. It's dangerous because we don't know how to regulate it. We don't know the full potential of it. We don't have safety implications. We don't have like laws written to protect or to regulate it properly because it's so new. Not everybody's using it because just like electricity, think about houses all the way into like, you know, probably the mid 50s, 1950s didn't even have electricity in many areas of the U.S., let alone the world. And so it's going to take a long time to adopt this technology. And once we do, then it's going to be a baseline. And the baseline of electricity, as you can see, it is where are we at today? Like we're probably on the brink of time travel. I mean, like we're able to produce images in 3D. We're able to see things with that the human eye can't see. We're able to, what can electricity do? Everything, pretty much. Every possible thing that has to do with technology is based off of electricity. And then it's compounding too. So if you take electricity and then you take the next biggest invention or technology that it comes after that, like think about all the technologies that came out. When one technology comes out, the next technology that comes out has that baseline to go off of, so then it can make something even better. And then the next technology uses everything prior to that, and then the next one uses everything prior. So it's
But
compounding.
also financial freedom. Like, I see so much freedom for this. Like, it's
So
crazy.
wait, let me finish where I'm going here. So we're in
Yeah.
the beginning stages. We're like in 1890 right now, where we don't even know that this is going to be the standard of the future. That's going to be many layers beyond. So if you can see that what's coming, if you can have a really good handle on the finance tech sector of the world, then you're going to really have like the heartbeat of the future of the world, and everything's going to come. It's gonna we need to be able to have more sustainability for our world, for the people that the quality of life. We're going to need to be able to have a currency that is worldwide. We're going to need to be able to have a currency that we can trust and that is transparent, and that everybody can participate in, and there's no discrimination. We're going to need to have a currency that's close to free to send and
Is
receive as
Bitcoin
possible.
worldwide?
What's that? Yes.
Is Bitcoin
So here's
worldwide?
another
Like,
here's another thing that people don't realize. This is like, as you're getting orange pilled, as you're discovering the epiphany moments that you have, where you're discovering that Bitcoin is like, wow, this is like the next best thing than our system that we currently use. It's just a better system than we currently use. It's safer, it's transparent, and it's provable. You can
right.
fact check that this happened and you received this because of this effort and this, and everybody can see everything. All people can communicate and see, and it's transparent. So when you don't get that with the banking system, you don't know what your neighbor sent to this other person. He banks at the same location, but you don't know that. Like, you can't just go look up his bank account number and see that he sent X amount of money to who and why and what and where
So
and what time.
confidential.
Yeah, so basically everything's transparent on the blockchain, because all you have to do is go back and I have a wallet address. It's just addresses on a chain. So like, if you're buying drugs, it's
And that's
super
the
traceable.
security too.
Yeah. If you're buying drugs, people think like what's really funny is how the news spreads FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, doubt, about like the drug use of the Silk Road of Bitcoin and crypto. But what's funny is like it's only not only is it easier for the government to find people because you're using your wallet address to purchase and send from, which is traceable because it's all linked to the rest of the chain. It's like a DNA tree, ancestry tree. Like you just follow it back to the previous transaction and you'll find the address holder, and that's how you find people. And once you realize like how it's so transparent, it really like it's a really refreshing way to just do what we currently have but better. And then I don't know. I could go on down any little side branch of every topic, but
I still never answered my question. I mean, I know
what was
you're
it?
not
Yeah,
a fucking Dalai Lama of Bitcoin, but I'm really
yeah,
you
it's
have
hard
more
sometimes.
knowledge than me in this terms. And I'm gonna probably add you and ask you some questions.
Yeah,
later
no,
after this.
I recommend it because what I'll do is I'll help you. I don't give like financial advice because it's not legal, but it's basically you can call it financial opinion. It's pretty much the same thing. But I can like just if you have questions like okay, so which platform should I use? Well, start with Coinbase Pro and start with Binance.us if you're in the U.S. Those are your two on ramps to the crypto world. So they're just refined applications. You just log in. It's just a website and it's a platform. It's like logging into Facebook. It's just a platform to do what you're trying to do, and they're really refined.
I have a couple. I have Coinbase,
good.
but I don't
There
have
you go.
those other ones you're talking about. Where's the
KuCoin, Binance.us, Gate.io. Here, I'll just label all. I'll list off.
To look up like a YouTuber or something later.
Yeah.
I don't.
I'll just list off all of them that I have. I have Coinbase. I have a Coinbase Pro account. I have a
I
Coinbase
use
account.
Coinbase mostly.
Coinbase Pro. If you don't have Coinbase Pro, use it because the fees are cheaper to transact. Don't get me started on that whole thing, but it's just that simple. It's basically Coinbase is for beginners. Coinbase Pro is for people that want to buy and sell more than just like a tiny bit, which is where it sounds like you're at that stage. You need Coinbase Pro. So Coinbase Pro, Coinbase, Binance.us for US, Binance without the .us for the rest of the world. We have certain regulations on our crypto world that we don't have access to everything. There's Bybit, which is a leverage trading platform. I don't recommend doing any leverage. You will not succeed. You will lose many times over before you succeed. By the time, like I suggest being in the space for 1 year and doing lots of research, and then get your feet wet and doing your leverage trading. Just don't do it for a year. I'm just telling you. Like it's just everybody will tell you that. Just you need to be a professional in the space in order to make money.
I'm going to be a hoarder when it comes
Yeah.
to Bitcoin.
That's fine. And there's other tricks and tips. You don't just have to hold. When the top looks like the top, you just sell 10%. And if it didn't go up, it's okay. You didn't lose money. You just buy back in. You still sold 10%. You buy back in your 10%. If it went down, you buy back in at the 10,
But,
20,
I mean,
30% that it went down.
It doesn't have to do much with stocks when you physically purchase Bitcoin. Like when I transfer $20, I physically I have that money in Bitcoin, or does that money?
Okay.
Fluxes because
Yeah.
of that.
So say you're on Coinbase and you you link your bank account and you take $20 out and you put it in Coinbase wallet in your Coinbase app, and then you click buy. You buy $20 Bitcoin. Now you have Bitcoin in your Coinbase app. Now you can hit sell and you sell your whatever amount of Bitcoin that you want. Welcome River. And now you have $20 back in whatever there's stable coins basically. So you're taking the US dollar into Coinbase Pro, and what you need to do is you need to that becomes some type of stable coin because it has to be backed to the dollar you just took it from, right? It has to be whatever value that dollar was has to be an equal value of a digital currency. So there's stable coins. USDT is Tether, USDC is Circle. There's many others, but those are like the two main. So you'll have it in a stable coin, and now it's just like the same. It was worth the same amount as what you had in the bank, and now you just go buy $10 worth of Bitcoin with that, and then if the market goes up, then say the Bitcoin doubles. You bought it at 50,000 and it goes to 100,000. Now you sell, and now you made 20. Now you have $20.
That's
so you made
just
$10.
like the same guy who physically bought a Bitcoin for $1.
Yeah. It's
Or
just
$30 million right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's lots of people that did that. And think about all the users back then. There was always more users
And
every time
that's
that
what
it was
like
growing.
that's why I want to put like $1 on like all these fucking penny stock like AMP and
Yeah.
all these other
Well,
fucking
this
things.
is a little technique that I use. I have over 220, 250 coins at the moment, and I do the DaVinci J15 method, where he explains it as simple as like the little old granny method, where you take I'm just using $100 because that's an average that I use. Sometimes it's up to $500 or $1,000, and sometimes it's as low as $25 on a coin. But at $100, you buy a coin, and when it doubles, you take 50 on the double. So you take 50% of the coin out. So basically, you're taking your initial investment out of the coin. So you put in $100, it goes up to 200. You take that 100 out, you still have the 100, and now you just let that ride for whatever makes sense to let it ride, years. Um, Now you have that $100, you go put into another coin, and that doubles. You take the 50 off the double. Now you have two coins plus $100 on the side. Now you let those two coins ride. Now you have $100 go buy on the next coin. You keep repeating, rinse and repeat that process, and you'll get to multiples of coins. And you're never
Oh,
going to
that's
lose
awesome.
anything. It's always your initial. What I recommend doing, actually, this is like a more safer version of that. After you get to a save point of 10 coins, so you take $100 and you did that 10 times, turn it into 10 coins. You just take the next coin that doubles, the 11th coin. You just take it and you put it back in the bank.
And these are coins. These aren't just one Bitcoin. These are
Yeah,
coins like
yeah. These are
different,
coins.
a
These
bunch
are different.
different like AMP
Don't
and like, these are
don't worry about
I'm
the
trying to think
amount
of
of
the
the
other ones.
coin. Like if you own 0.00008 of Bitcoin, it could be the same amount as like 200 amp. Okay, like don't worry about the decimal point or how much. You got to understand that how large is the value of the coin, and there's many different factors. There's circulating supply of the coin, what's out there that you can purchase and sell. There's the market cap, which is the total, like the total. Well, the market cap is the equation of all these stats. There's the market. There's the what am I getting at? This stuff's like beyond me even. The total supply. There's total value locked. So there's coins that you can lock up and get rewards for locking them for like a year or two or whatever time period, 7 days, 90 days. So you get interest
That's
on your
cool.
coins. There's all kinds of cool stuff.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's getting off topic there, but what was your question so I can finish up that idea?
so back to the original question with Bitcoin. Well, I think you answered my question.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
With
just wanted to go down in more
thinking
detail.
about how it doesn't go to the Federal Reserve, it goes to like a different
Oh, the stablecoin. Yeah, when you on your money into the system, so now you
stablecoin.
buy that.
So
So yeah,
what is stablecoin? Is that like a group of people that
stablecoin's like a
own
company. Okay.
a bunch of Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, so think about it
A
like
lot
this.
of Bitcoin.
Like a
Shit.
bank. Basically like a bank. So basically, yeah, in order to be a stablecoin, why are you a stablecoin? You would be a stablecoin because it's a company and they write a protocol, and the protocol is like Bitcoin. Bitcoin has its own protocol, all the other coins have their own protocol.
Right.
Stablecoin just says that the code does this, the protocol does this. Like it's going to be backed one to one, and this is how and why. So I would imagine that they have probably only a percentage of their backings is all they have to have, like just like the banks. But where they're gonna have a holdings in Bitcoin or gold or some other type of asset, so that they can then take your money
Okay.
from the bank. Because you got to remember, they're doing the deal behind the scenes. They're basically
Right.
taking the money that comes from the bank and they're receiving it. Then they're giving you a portion of that in this other different variant, and then you're taking that and you're going using it on the system. So, but they're receiving that money from the bank, and they're charging you a tiny little fraction of a fee. That's how they make their money, by doing that. So they're on ramping you into the system, but making money off of you by doing so.
And that probably generates more fucking Bitcoin, that transaction right there.
Yeah, yeah. Let me add you so I don't lose you here, and you can send me a PS message if you're on PS4.
This isn't my main account, but I use this
It's
for the
okay.
other games as well.
It'll be a good at least starting point. You can send me a message once you get me added here. Let me just add you so I don't forget. Welcome, Truce. Welcome. Any questions?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
What's like that? Because I got
Mhm.
Robinhood, and that like really is not helpful.
No, Robinhood's it's a trick. So what's happening with Robinhood is you can't
They
withdraw
won't
your
give you the best price.
you can't withdraw your
Yeah,
cryptocurrency is
there's no
from my
wallets
understanding.
yet.
Did that,
Yeah. I mean in the future there will be. There has to be. I mean,
Yeah, I'm in the waiting list.
just wait. But what you can do is can you sell your Bitcoin at all?
Yeah.
Okay, so it just sits inside Robinhood. Like it's still it's like a what does it sit into? Just the USD? What's the term? What would the
Yeah.
coin be?
Yeah,
USD. It just
The
says
B-
USD.
piece
Okay.
of- yeah.
Okay, cool. So yeah, you just wait if with that money, but don't put any more money into Robinhood. Don't support that platform. So what you
I
need to be
have money
doing,
in Robinhood too.
it's okay. Don't support it any
Robinhood.
further. Don't support Robinhood any further.
I
So
don't think they're getting any money from me.
They had something
By
to do
you-
with taxes, and I didn't understand that.
by
shit.
you
I was like,
using
what?
that using that platform, your the fees that you pay to do your transaction is how they make their money.
Well, I'm not paying any fees.
When you make a trade, you pay a fee.
No.
You're
Really?
saying
No,
you're
yeah,
saying that
it's not-
Robinhood
it-
doesn't take any fees when you make a trade in
no,
any
no fees.
stocks or
Wait.
anything else, Ethan?
No fees because it uses I forget short order flow. It's basically
Yeah, no.
trading. They work closely with Citadel holding groups.
Okay. Yeah,
and
Citadel's a big
they
one.
basically swap. They give like money to Citadel, and then Citadel will be like, "Here's stock," and that's how they avoid the fees.
So the question is, how does
Yeah, like if I
Robinhood
put
make money?
$30 in there, $30 goes right in there.
That's why there was like that big
Rebates
Yeah,
from
me
market
and
makers and trading
AMC.
venues.
um,
Stock loan. Yeah, maybe they loan money and stuff. Maybe they can eat the cost of the trading
They do
and
loan
do it.
money. I heard a very fucked up story with Robinhood.
Well, but besides all that, I don't want to go down that too
Yeah.
much because we're trying to stay
Alright,
focused
Ricky,
here. But
it's getting late.
yeah, I just
I
want to
wanna
add
send
you in.
a message with it.
Yeah, no problem.
Uh,
Okay, cool. Yeah, send me one before you get off because you'll forget. You know, if you don't. So,
Okay.
all right.
Oh,
Yep. Yep. Take care. What was the question you had? It was a good question.
oh yeah,
Robinhood. Oh, the wallets. That's right.
Site.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, just wait till the wallet and then you'll be fine. But don't put any more money into Robinhood because they've done some crazy stuff. I don't really
yeah.
support their
I got
behavior.
screwed up by them.
Yeah. So
But like,
okay, so the best on ramps in the U.S. Are you in the U.S.?
yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna use Binance.us and you're gonna use Coinbase Pro and KuCoin. KuCoin's a nice one too. I actually use a lot of KuCoin, but the Binance.us and Coinbase Pro are gonna be your two best platforms. All mine that I use are gonna be because you gotta remember you gotta have these platforms give you access to coins. So which platform is going to give you access to all the coins that I see the most potential in, and that's going to be these sites. You have other sites like Crypto.com, which is getting huge. You have eToro, which a horrible site. Don't ever use them. It's just a scam. So there's Coinbase Pro, Coinbase, Binance.us, KuCoin, Gate.io. I love for all my altcoins. It's all limit orders, so it takes forever for them to fill because the liquidity is so low. But it's amazing. I love it. It's my favorite one, and I really like the platform for how small they are compared to the rest. They're growing. They're going to be number one eventually. I think these are probably Korean based companies though. Bybit is another really good one. Bybit's actually just just expanded from derivatives to its spot buying, so now you can just buy all these coins on there, which is really cool because the liquidity is so fucking